Hey guys, it's Felicia. It has been a couple months since I blogged, I checked. But in reality, I haven't really felt led to share, and I don't just like getting on here and talking just to talk. So that's what it is. But I wanted to share. I did have something to share today. Not too long ago, I was in a place where I was just kind of in a funk. Like I wasn't depressed or like super like sad or anything, but I was disappointed. I think that's the best word. I was disappointed. I was just in a funk, and I didn't know. I was just praying. I'm like, God help me get out of this funky place. And so that was like over a weekend. I remember I really was praying hard about it. And then on that Tuesday, because I work from home normally on Mondays, but on the Tuesday, I went in the office, made sure I got my purse, made sure I had my backpack with my computer, had my lunch, out the door, get to work about 25 minutes later, go to grab my phone, phone, phone. At that moment, I literally started freaking out. I felt like a fiend. Like, where's my phone? I need my phone. I know it's not. That was pretty dramatic, but you guys know how it is when you don't have your phone. And so I'm like, I got to go back and get that phone. But I'm like, do I really want to drive all the way home and then all the way back? And maybe I can go over lunch. I just was strategizing about this phone. And then I was like, ooh, you're really addicted to this, this phone. But I feel like I always have the phone, not just like maybe I'll check, Facebook, I'll check Instagram, see what's going on Twitter. But then there's emails, and then what's going on in the news, what's going on with Ukraine. Then I'm listening to an audiobook while I work. I do a lot of analytical work, so there's just a lot of time to listen to audiobooks. But there's normally a lot of content going on in my head in a given day. So I'm like, I'm not going to go home. I'm just going to, what do you call it? Wing it or whatever. So I get on, start working. Say a couple hours later, I'm going to check my phone. I'm like, oh yeah, there's no phone. Keep working. And then about lunchtime, I go to check my phone again. There's no phone. And I'm like, this is probably a good thing. Like, I'm feeling a lot lighter, like just more at peace without having this phone. I had a book in my backpack that I think I just never took it out, but I do like to read a lot. But I took the book out over lunch and I read, and it was like something I really, really needed for that day. And other than that reading, the whole day at work, there was no content that went in my head other than that short time period where I read the book and, of course, work stuff. And at the end of the day, when I tell you, I felt so much peace. I was like, oh my gosh, I believe I was on just content overload. There's just too much. I was too plugged in. There's just too many things going on in my head that it kept me in this funk. I kind of liken it, and not everybody did this, but when we first learned about COVID and you were like watching the news all the time to figure out like any new developments. And then after a while you were like, I don't think all this is really that great for me. And then you stopped watching the news and you felt a lot better. So not everybody, but that was me. I had to definitely stop watching the news, and I felt like I just needed to unplug. I really just needed to unplug. And it kind of reminds me of the verse in, let me look, remember 2 Corinthians 10:5, where basically is telling us to cast down imaginations, basically any thoughts in our head that we know are not of God. And not that social media and all that isn't of God, but for me, it was just too much at the time. Like, it was keeping me in this funky state. And I'm like, this is not me. I am never in a funk this long. And God had just came through and answered my prayer. I was like, I just need to unplug. And unplugging gave me the peace that I needed. So I believe everyone really does know this, but just an encouragement, because you guys know I always do at the end of one of these, but when you need to unplug, unplug. Just every once in a while, at least take a social media break, a news break, just give yourself some peace. I was talking to my sister not too long ago and I was like, oh my gosh, remember when we didn't have phones and you didn't have to check things all the time and you weren't like wondering what's going on with this, what's going on with that. You just lived in the moment and you just be. That's it. No one was calling. You didn't know until you got home and maybe someone left a voicemail, but sometimes I miss those days. Don't get me wrong, technology is great. Just saying. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing great. And that's really all I had to say about my blog. I did want to say one more thing, and that was I have another opening if anyone is interested in life coaching. Again, why would you need a coach? I know I've shared this before, but normally you would want a life coach, and I normally do. I'm not like a specialized, but you normally want a life coach if you are just stuck at some area of your life. You don't really know what the next step is, or if you have a goal and you want to get to your goal faster. So normally those are the two times when you'd want to have a life coach to, push you along to get there. If you feel like, oh my gosh, that's going to be super expensive, I don't know, blah, 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 don't let that stop you. Like, this is really something I feel led to do. I went through it personally myself when I went through school, and it really changed my life. I'm just so much more aware of myself, what I need, what boundaries I need to set, what's healthy for me, what serves me well. And I just really want to give that back to other people, because I feel like it could really bless your life and change it. So anyway, that is all I have to say today. I hope you all have a great week and are doing well. Thanks for listening. See ya.